Hey guys, so in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a layout page for your portfolio in InDesign. And to start off, I'm going to create a new document. I'm going to go to print and select the letter template, and I'm going to go ahead and change my units to inches, and I'm going to make my width 17 inches and my height 11. That's the typical size for a portfolio, and you can have it either vertical or horizontal, whichever you prefer. I'm gonna, for this tutorial, keep it at a horizontal layout. Okay, so once you have those factors set up, you can start to place grid lines. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you the basic grid layout for a portfolio. So to place your grid lines, you're going to want to go to Layout, Create Guides, and then just add however many you want. I'm just going to do 3 and 3 for now to see what that looks like. So that just creates the general grid for you, and you can move these grids around. So I'm going to go ahead and remove some and create my grid. And when you're moving these around, think about where you want things to go and how you want your story to be told through this layout, the story of your project, I mean. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one as well. So once you have your grid lines set up, you can start placing images, floor plans, text, anything of that nature. So to do that, I'm going to go to File, Place, and I'm going to place my isometric view first. And these are just images pulled from Google. You can use, obviously, your own. And I'm gonna try to shape it and make sure it fits within this box that I've created with my grid lines. So typically, the traditional way to create your portfolio page for a project, you'd want to start out with like a site view or an isometric view, move to floor plans, perspectives, sections, and then maybe some furniture images. So once you place an image, you can align it with your grid lines, and then if you move this frame, it'll align within the grid lines as well. And then if you double click inside, you'll actually be able to move the image within the frame. You can also, if you click back to the frame, right click, and then go to Fitting and Fill Frame Proportionally. Your image then will proportionally fit into the borders of the frame that you set up. But as you can tell, this is cutting off my image somewhat, so I'm gonna adjust that. And if you want to adjust it without distorting the image, you press Shift and then adjust that. Another thing you can do is place text. So if you select your type tool, I'm going to set up my text within this box. On top, you typically want to create a bigger text for your title. So I'm just going to make up a title. So once you have your title, you can, of course, in your properties panel, change the text style to whatever you want. And then you can place another text box underneath to describe your project. And if you don't know for sure what's going to go in here first, you can fill it with random text. And to do that, you can go to Type, Fill with Placeholder, and it'll just put some nonsense into that text box. You can also align your text accordingly. Just make sure it's the same throughout so it looks organized. So then you can go ahead and start placing your other images. So as you can tell, this perspective is not the same size as the grid area I want to place it into. So once again, I can click into the image itself and manipulate the size. I want to do it that way it's to scale and not distorted, so I'm going to press Shift. And then I'll just move it around to show what I want within the frame. So then I'm going to move on to placing my floor plans. I have here a rendered floor plan and then just a regular floor plan. So whenever you're inserting images, make sure there is a balance. So you don't want to just have all 3D rendered images bulked up at the top. You want to spread it out so it flows better. So I'm going to break up the renderings by placing just the regular floor plan in this middle section. And I'm going to distort it a little bit, but typically you want to make sure your floor plan is to scale. You can also add text elsewhere. You don't just have to have it in one spot. This will also give the page a little bit more flow. So I'm going to add another text box here, which maybe would be describing some specific elements of the design. I'm just placing filler text in here, and I'm going to align it the same way I aligned everything over here. So you just want to highlight it and align. Then I'm going to place my rendered floor plan at the bottom. Once again, I'm going to distort it just a little bit, but typically you would not want to do this. You would want to keep your floor plans to scale. And then I might place some other element over here, maybe another rendered floor plan. Or you don't want to have too much text because that takes away from the rest of the images and it just makes it too much to read. So, you know, you could place whatever else you want here. Now I'll place some sections as well. I might just place one big one for now. And I'll want to fit it into that grid line. So, and remember not to distort it, you press shift and then move it. I might place another one at the bottom here. Maybe you want to focus on specific areas that you really want to highlight. Here I found a like a decorative wall that someone designed. So that might be an element you would want to highlight within your project. And then if you want to take a break from this grid line layout, you can go to this bottom icon, right click and press preview, and it'll show you what it looks like and what it would look like in print. So I'm going to go back to my normal view and I'm going to add a couple of more elements. If you want to highlight some furniture pieces, you can do that. And with furniture, you also want to think about the flow of how you're placing it. So if you want to place a light fixture, for example, and then a chair, you would want to place your light fixture on top and then the chair at the bottom, because that's typically what it would look like within a room. You wouldn't have a chair on top and a light fixture on the bottom unless it was floor lighting. So just make sure whenever you're placing images and items within your portfolio page, you're doing it with intention and not just placing images just to place them. I'm going to go ahead and preview this again. So this is what your typical grid layout would look like in a portfolio page. And you can add other elements like shapes within your portfolio page. So, you know, you can place a rectangle, box for whatever reason you would want. Maybe for color swatches or anything like that. And I'll just fill it with a random color for now. And then go back to my preview. And this is, once again, what a basic grid layout in InDesign looks like.